Hey guys, welcome to this video. So, a couple days ago, I saw this news story from the BBC, and it really made me angry. Not just based on the story specifically, but it was also the way that BBC portrayed it. So, from the thumbnail, you can probably tell what I'm talking about, but it's pretty much having to do with an Afghanistan father who, and this is a touchy subject, so I'm gonna obviously set this video to only 18 plus viewing, but it was about a father who felt quote unquote forced to sell his daughters that were about the age of like 7 or so into like sexual slavery, right? So yeah, there's an issue with that already. But then BBC took that and was like talking about like, oh god, this is so heartbreaking. Like the headline was just pretty much like saying like, this is so heartbreaking. Look at what this father has to do to feed his kids. Isn't it so sad? Like he has to do this. It's just there's nothing that can be done. Oh god, like it's like actually there is. Just get a fucking job, actually, Just don't sell your kids into sex slavery, I guess. That's something you can do. And I did see a video with it. I'm not going to play it, but essentially what happens is I honestly I didn't really watch the first half because I was looking back for the tweet, but in the second half of the video, the father can be visibly seen crying, kissing the forehead of one of his daughters and saying like it's like I forgot which words he specifically said, but obviously he wasn't speaking English like it was translated, but it was pretty much him saying like I'm just so sad that like there's no other way I can feed my daughters. It's just I hate having to do this. It's like if like you know, if he was a real father, that would not be a situation. And this might be the most controversial video that I will do on this channel, simply because, I have a lot of takes regarding like Muslim and Islam as a whole. Like Islam as in the religion, I don't really necessarily have like any negative feelings towards Muslim people entirely, but I work with like a lot of Muslim people and I've seen and heard things from them that just kind of like disgust me. And just as a side note, I don't treat them like shitty. I treat them as like normal everyday people. Even the ones I don't like, because like I don't want to deal with like lashing out at them. Not that I want to or anything. It's just like I'll talk about one in a little bit, but it's not like I look at them and I'm just like, man, I really want to fucking kill them, for being in my country. It's not like that, but I I have heard a lot of things, but I'll get to that in a second. So, yeah, the father is like there's no other way I can get food. Like surely there's like a job out there that can, I don't know the situation, but I guess that has to say a lot more about the country of Afghanistan than you know, just anything else, I guess. That they don't really have jobs for people out there, I guess. So yeah, it's honestly just insane. Like a good father would not feel like the last resort is to sell his kids as sex objects for other men, And it's just so unfortunate because I know for a fact it is pretty rather common in Muslim countries for that to happen. And I'm not denying, obviously, that it doesn't stuff like that. On a similar note, does not happen in the United States and anywhere else in the world. Asian countries are infamous with like pedophilia, like especially like Japan and Indonesia, like oh my god, bro, like, that's just, fucking disgusting. And then obviously in the States, like, there's a lot of white pastors who like doing stuff to little boys, and it's not good. There's fathers who fuck their daughters. It's just, there's a lot of like not six. There's a lot of sick individuals for sure in every part of the world. So obviously this is just not, in terms of like pedophilia as a whole, this is not like, a Muslim-based issue, obviously. But what is a Muslim-based issue is what I want to refer to from a coworker of mine. So this coworker is from Afghanistan as well. He is, I believe, in his mid-30s at the very least. And, I think I already... Did I say he was from Afghanistan? Well, if not, he's from Afghanistan as well. So, I don't know when he moved here, but I remember, he was telling, something to another coworker of mine, the day he was there. And I say day he was there because he's like a weekend shift, but like we share like overlapping days with like weekend shifts. So when he was there, he was telling the story randomly one day to a coworker of mine, and this was like over a year, probably almost 2 years ago, if not 2 years ago. So it's been a while since I've heard this. But he was telling about how he, sexually abused and married a 9-year-old back in Afghanistan, and I just was kind of like sitting, or like standing in that area, like hearing all about it, just kind of like flabbergasted, like did I hear that correctly? And like I know for sure I heard it correctly, but like months later, like a year or so later, I just remember talking to that coworker's mother, not of the Afghanistan guy, like the coworker who is being told the story. And I was like, so, about that guy and the 9-year-old, and what he did? And she was like, yeah, I do. So that was like, kind of like the two-step verification of like, oh, wow, he did say that then. Okay, just to be sure, But, so, yeah, he married a 9-year-old, abused her, probably in ways more than one, to be honest, and also, when she had turned 18, guess what? He divorced her. Wow, man. I couldn't have waited until like 19 at least just to be like, yeah, she's an adult now. Like, so it's, see? Just like right off the rip, like, she's 18 now, I want nothing to do with her. She disgusts me now. It's so fucking disgusting. And, another thing that Islam is known for is that, they love covering up the women. They claim to be peaceful. They're like the peace religion. The religion of peace. That's what they like to proclaim. But then, they cover up their women, right? And all that fucking black clothes shit or whatever. Like the hijabs or whatever. Because, it's a sin to them if they are not covered up, because, they look at them as sexual objects. That's just the way it is. Like, if they are not covered up, if they see any ounce of hair or any ounce of skin that is not their face, that's considered sexual, and it's so fucking disgusting. They also do to the kids, which makes it even worse. Like, how mentally ill do you have to be to not only, do this to, women in your country or just region of the world, but also if you're not even Muslim yourself, like if you defend Islam, and especially if you're a woman, right? if you're a woman and you defend Islam, like, I'm not trying to be like, you know, the kind of guy which is like, that sounds like, well, she was wearing slutty clothes, so she was asking for it, right? But like, what I'm gonna try and say is, what the fuck are you doing? You know, like that. You know, just defending Islam and just Muslim men who are just so disgusting towards women is something that will never sit right with me, because you do realize that they fucking hate you, right? And same thing for the LGBT people, you know. It's like, I don't get why, you know, far left people defend, you know, people from those countries just in general, because like they fucking despise them. They hate gay people, they hate trans people, they hate, you know, women in general. Like, they're just so, like, disgusting. And I don't get why there's so much defensive people, like on Twitter or whatever, who just defend this kind of shit. It's just so disgusting and it's so backwards. Like, honestly, like, we should just be against Islam. That's just the way I see it. You know, it's just like, Islam is such, like, it's so far behind with the times, and I've always felt that way. But so much more in the last couple of years, it's just like such a backwards religion, such a backwards way of life, that it's like, there's no way you can defend this. You know, they proclaim like, yeah, we're peaceful and all that, you know, but they beat their wives if they see an ounce of, like, stomach. Unless, you know, it's to have kids with them, you know? It's disgusting. And, you know, speaking about disgusting, they don't want Perk, by the way. Like, they're fine with, you know, marrying 9-year-olds and training each other's daughters for sexual pleasure, but then, you know, as soon as Perk comes in the picture, like, as soon as, like, a pig comes in the picture, they instantly are just so disgusted, you know? And that makes me think, like, right, okay, so here's the deal, right? You know, it's like, there's, like, kids nearby, right? Like, just put pigs, like, around, like, a playground. Honestly, that's just the way I see it, okay? That's what I would do, you know? Just to keep them specifically away from kids and children, just put, like, bacon strips out on the ground, and then, you know, they'll be too scared to go up to the kids, because, like, obviously they're like, oh shit, it's Perk on the ground, like, ew, like, we gotta get out of here, that shit's fucking disgusting, you know? And then there we go, that's the problem solved, honestly. It's just, it's sickening, you know? And, like I said from earlier, you know, I treat everyone as a human. And I also, unfortunately, have to treat the guy who told that story to my coworker about the 9-year-old as a human as well. Even though anytime I see him, you know, I have such a repulsive mindset towards him since that day. And, you know, it's just so disgusting, you know? And also they're just kind of dirty in general too. Like, not just a stereotype. Okay, I'm not just saying that to be racist. Like I said, I work with them in my job, and you know, I see them in the locker room. I see them also in the bathroom as well. And sometimes, you know, they'll just clean their feet. Like, bare feet. They will take their shoes off, proceed to take off their socks, and then they will wash their feet in the water, in the sink. And they don't even use soap most of the time either, by the way. They just kind of, like, use water and just, like, make it wet and damp. So now it's just, like, a stinky, smelly, wet foot. So that's cool. Yeah, that got the job done. and I have to deal with that every single day at work, you know? Like, it's not the worst thing, you know? But it's like, man, like, I'm just like trying to go to the bathroom right now, and I have to be greeted by this guy at the sink holding his, you know, leg up with his foot in the sink, cleaning his foot because he has to pray or something. I have no words. There's just no words just to say, and I don't want this video to just be like, oh, you're just being racist. Alright, how about Muslim people just, you know, specifically the men, just, you know, don't be fucking weird. You know, how about they just treat their women with respect and all that, and you know, they don't beat their wives and fuck kids, I guess. You know, that's what I think. That's what my opinion is. So yeah. That is the video. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. You know, this is you know, like I said, a video that I'm sure is going to go well. Knowing my track record, even when I have opinions that are like not about like, you know, even when I have like opinions that are about the most mundane stuff, I still get shit on for it for no reason. I'm just like gonna turn the comments off on this video, to be honest, because like I know that there's going to be people who will mindlessly like defend Islam and what happens in Islam, and I'm just not, you know, I myself am not a religious person, but I understand, like, yeah, there's also problems in America with like Christianity and all that. Even though I'm not fucking like necessarily Christian, Catholic or whatever, I can also recognize the issues in that religion, or those religions. Like there's pastors, like I said some minutes ago in the video, like there's pastors who are not good with kids. You know, they touch them and are just, you know, not very good at all. So I understand that, like, there's a problem in, you know, every religion with that, I'm assuming, obviously, and that's it. I'm going to end the video because I gotta blow my nose, and I sound like a stupid dumbass right now, so yeah, that'll do it. Bye-bye. Don't fucking crucify me if I have the comments on. Like, I'm just saying facts, in my opinion.